30 p.m. in the Thomas G. Smith Council Chambers. Would you all please stand and join us for the Pledge of Allegiance? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you. Kathleen, can we do roll call, please?
Wilson? Here. Davidson?
Here.
Fleming?
Here.
McCampbell?
Here.
Scott?
Here. Okay. Tonight we have one Mayor's Award, and I'm glad to give it out to somebody that has such a beautiful wife. Anyways, no, we go way back, and this guy's been around Burlington for a long time, making a difference in this community. And he's retiring, and I just can't let you retire without recognizing you, and I want to do that tonight. So it is my pleasure to read this award. Be it known, on behalf of the city of Burlington, Iowa, I'd like to thank you for being a model Burlingtonian. Your commitment to what's what and how the what gets whatted is exemplary and deserves being recognized. You stand out amongst your peers. Enjoy your retirement. You have helped make Burlington a great place to live, work, and play. On August 7, 2017, this Mayor's Award is presented to Mr. Dale Allison. Come on down. My lovely photographer, could you take a picture, please?
Absolutely. You guys are
Let me give you one of these first. Yeah, put that on.
very good.
All right. Mr. Allison, would you please come on down and have a word? In fact, he's going to get off easy, huh? Get in front of that microphone.
Thank you very much. Burlington has meant a lot to me, and I appreciate it. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Dale.
Obviously, he's a man of many words, so we're going to move right on along. Thank you. But we thank you for taking the time to come on down, and for bringing Allison as well. Thank you for coming down. Okay. On the agenda tonight, we have the consent agenda. All matters listed under item 1, consent agenda, having been discussed, are considered to be routine by the city council and will be enacted by one motion. There will be no separate discussion of these items. If a discussion is desired, bless you, that item will be removed from the consent agenda and will be considered separately. On the consent tonight, we have the usual finances and miscellaneous, minutes of previous meetings, payroll and city claims, beer, liquor, wine, and cigarettes, reports and bonds. We have 6 resolutions. First resolution approving nuisance abatements for various properties. Second is a resolution amending the contract for engineering services for Phase 1 south of the Flint River Trail. The third is a resolution authorizing the filing of an application for resource enhancement and protection, the REAP program, for construction and improvements at the North Gorge Trail. The fourth is a resolution amending the permanent encroachment agreement with Art Guild of Burlington, Inc. for encroachment into city right-of-way adjacent to the property located at 301 Jefferson Street, Burlington, Iowa. The fifth is a resolution approving travel and training policies. And the sixth is a resolution approving bond for G&B Construction, LLC, for the Parkview Care Facility demolition project. We also have some public hearings set for August 21st. The first is a consideration of an ordinance amending the Code of Ordinances of the City of Burlington, Iowa by amending the standard penalty for violation of the city code. The second is consideration of plans and specs for the 2017 Vineyard Street area drainage project. The third is a consideration of plans and specs for the 2017 Jefferson Street parking improvements. The fourth is consideration of sale of property locally known as 914 Louisa Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions. And the fifth is consideration of lease agreement between the City of Burlington and Weingard Realty Company for the Rock Island Freight House property at 710 North Front Street. Is there anybody from the audience that would like to have any of these items removed from the consent agenda? I see none. Council?
No,
Not me.
Can I get a motion?
I move to approve all listed under item 1 consent agenda.
second.
It's been moved in second. Kathleen?
Wilson? Aye. Davidson?
Aye.
Fleming?
Aye.
McCampbell?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye. Well done. I'm going to roll downhill here. We have a hearing. This consideration of a sale of property locally known as 1309 South 10th Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions.
This is a property the city acquired through the abandoned building program. It's located at South 10th and Dodge Street. It's a single-family house that is need of considerable rehabilitation for continued use. We have had conversations with the Burlington Community School District dating back over the past several months on some options with their building trades program getting going again, of the city acquiring homes and working with the school district to transfer those properties for them to rehab for that program. And this is the first home that we've been able to come to an agreement on and work out that is suitable for their needs. So this property is being transferred to the Burlington Community School District for the purpose of educating students in the building trades. It is being gifted for the above purpose as allowed by Iowa Code 364.73. So this would be the first house that could be used for that program, and we hope they're very successful. Mr. Cohen with the school districts here as well.
Mr. Cohen?
Pat Cohen, I live at 408 Iowa Street here in Burlington, Iowa. First of all, I thank you for entertaining this. We will use it during the junior phase of building trades. Then the senior year of building trades, they will build a new home here in Burlington. We do believe that over a 10-year period, we can produce well over $2 million worth of taxable property in the city of Burlington. We're not only using this as building trades, but we're also using it as an approach for the school to try to bring about change in our property poor status as a city. We also believe that we can produce 20 to 30 students a year who now possess the ability to go out, purchase their first home here in Burlington through sweat equity. They can leave that home better than they found it. And they can also build a nest egg in that home, a savings account, if you will, that will then drive down the cost once they marry, begin a family, and we grow Burlington from Burlington. So there's a lot of good that will come out of this program. We have many community partners, from banks to law firms to unions to building supply services, landscaping. The city of Burlington has overwhelmingly stepped up in the private sector and committed to resources and time and energy to help pull this project off. This is house number one. It will be a learning curve. We know that we will not succeed at everything that we try, but we're going to try, and try we will. I appreciate the council's time. I appreciate you approving this, I hope, and we'll get going, and the school will do its part the best we can to help you help Burlington.
Do we have, Mr. Cohen, do we have how many students or juniors are in the program?
We do. Right now, we're looking at 30.
Wow.
The house will be pretty cramped,
Yeah.
as far as doing that type of work, so we may do 2 shifts. Initially, I'm overly aggressive. I know that about myself. At 50, I figured stuff out. Laugh, but it's true. So I was looking at a semester. This may take us a year.
Yeah.
But I do know this, we're doing something. We're not just talking about it, we're gonna get off our duff and we're gonna do something.
Good.
So,
Good. Thank you.
any other questions?
Any questions from the audience? I see none. Council?
Great program.
I like it.
Great program. I have a motion to close.
Second?
It's been moved in second. Kathleen?
Wilson. Aye. Davidson.
Aye.
Fleming.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. This hearing is closed. I don't know what to do.
I have a
then.
resolution approving sale of property locally known as 1309 South 10th Street, City of Burlington, Iowa, with conditions.
Second.
Moved in second. Kathleen?
Wilson. Aye. Davidson.
Aye.
Fleming.
Aye.
Campbell.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Well done. Good deal. Okay. Annie?
Your Honor, I have a motion for preliminary adoption of a second reading of an ordinance vacating and selling a portion of Oak Street right-of-way located east of Bluff Road, Burlington, Iowa.
Second.
Moved in second. Mr. Tisland?
This is, again, second reading, looking to vacate this, working with the adjacent property owner who has some desire to make improvements to the entrance to the north of this, but based on the grade and crossing there, would like to see this entrance into their property closed and allow further access on the north side. Part of that is providing back an easement to the city and waterworks for their use on the west edge of this property, which is the following agreements. They're looking at providing an easement back to the property along the north side of 922 Bluff Road there, with an access curving back to the west. This would be sold to the adjacent property owner, Burlington Truck Rail. There is two legal descriptions. One is for the vacation, which is a larger portion of the right-of-way, and then the second legal description is the transfer, which would just transfer adjacent to the property, not adjacent to the city property. So there's two separate legals there. One, we're vacating the entire portion of Oak Street right-of-way, and then the second one, it's just transferring the portion adjacent to Burlington Truck Rail and retaining ownership of the property there on the western edge of the right-of-way.
Okay.
Any questions from the audience? I see none. Council?
Would like a motion to amend the ordinance vacating and selling a portion of Oak Street right-of-way located east of Bluff Road, Burlington, Iowa, by adding the following to Exhibit B of the ordinance, a description part of vacated Oak Street to be conveyed.
Second.
Thank you. Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Excuse me, aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
All right, moving right along.
The motion to amend. The motion, I also have a second motion to amend the motion for preliminary adoption of the second reading of an ordinance vacating and selling a portion of Oak Street right-of-way located east of Bluff Road, Burlington, Iowa, to read as follows: for waiver of preliminary consideration and adoption of the second reading, and for final adoption of an ordinance vacating and selling a portion of Oak Street right-of-way located east of Bluff Road, Burlington, Iowa.
Second.
Moved in second. Kathleen, can we vote on the amendment?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Okay, now as amended.
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Okay, good deal.
You're gonna have a resolution approving an agreement with Burlington Short Line Railroad, Inc. for Oak Street vacation.
Second.
Mr. McGregor?
Before you is a resolution approving an agreement that's also in your packet. In the packet, or in the agreement, there's 4 exhibits called out. Exhibit A, if you'd throw that up for me, describes the crossing at Agency Street that they will be replacing at a cost share of $53,500. Exhibit B, I believe, is the vacation itself. Exhibit C is the map, if you throw that back up again, describing the easement area. And then Exhibit D is actually the next resolution, but that is an easement agreement. So essentially, we are vacating this and allowing them to, or working out a cost share with the crossing on Agency Street.
Thank you, Nick.
Any questions or concerns from the audience? I see none. Council?
No. Good.
Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 2.
I have a resolution approving an agreement with Burlington Truck Rail, Inc. for access easement.
Second.
Moved in second.
As
Mr.
previously
McGregor.
described, this is a separate item that needs to be approved separately, but will function as Exhibit D for the agreement. It has 2 legal descriptions for the 2 easements given, one that runs east-west through the property, and then one that runs in a north-northwest to a south-southeast pattern, of which they're both described in that agreement. Actually, the spur that is on what is Oak Street right-of-way will be land that will be retained by the city, so that's not actually an easement that's written in that agreement, so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Is there anybody from the audience has any questions or concerns? I see none. You guys are lovely so far. Let's keep it going. Council?
Good.
Good with me.
Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell.
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
All right.
Your Honor, I have a resolution approving new lease agreement for Otter Island.
Second.
Moved in second, twice. Jim?
So this is a resolution bringing back the fee schedule for the Outer Island leases based off of the previous conversations. We did put in some lease amounts in here, and I was trying to get down to where that is in the packet. Instead of an increase to $325, it would be an increase to $275 from the last year's $250 for residents of Des Moines County. We did not speak at all, the council didn't at the work session, in regards to how you were going to treat the out-of-county leasers, but we were looking at that lease going from, and I'm going to go off the top of my head, from 600 to 650 instead of to the 800, if you're doing a comparable reduction, although maybe you don't want to do that. This is kind of left to you to, if the council wants to amend this resolution from the numbers that are in here. We tried to get, at least based off of how the work session discussion, a starting point for you for tonight.
I'm satisfied. Council?
These other highlighted items were already in here, correct? And they were just, because they're changes from the previous ones? Yes.
The change in here, and you'll see the rates, we did have the stair step up for all 3 years, 17, 18, and 19, and now you just see the amount going up in 17. We have fees out for the next 2 years at the same rate. That would be up to the council.
Right.
If you wanted to this next year to reconsider those for something different, you certainly can.
Okay. So we good? All right, any questions or concerns from the audience?
Mayor, Council, Shalom, David Meyer, 605 Hedge. My understanding from just speaking to somebody is that it would take 3 more hearings to change this, right?
What we've just done right now is locked down.
Right, to 275, sorry.
This is a resolution. Resolutions are 1 reading. The ordinances are a 3-reading process, but with a resolution, it's a one-time through the process.
Oh, okay, it's one time through the process, but this can't happen again unless they go through 3 readings, right?
It's a resolution. You can change, the council can do a resolution that impacts fees in 1 reading at any given time. So if they wanted to do something in the future, it's 1 reading, not 3.
I would like to know if we could change that to 3.
Not,
So you can just add to it again, next year or whatever, or the year after having 1 reading.
correct.
Yeah, correct.
I thought that we were going to, find a way to make sure that we addressed it so that if we did raise it up again, that try to find a way so that everybody would know about this before it happened.
Well, yeah, that's true. That's
Yeah.
true, but, yeah.
I think that was the biggest concern for you, for that many, that they didn't know what was going on.
Yeah, it was. That was one of the concerns. There were many. All right. Well, if it's going to be locked in, then, but we will be told if a letter be given to us.
There will be notice
That-
given, right?
That's not typically the process, but if the council's asking for that to be done, that can be.
To me, something needs to be in there so that we don't go
This
through.
is, I mean, you have fees that you do through resolutions on a lot of things, and you can certainly do this way, as he's asking if you would like. You do sewer fees by resolution basis. That impacts everyone in the community, and you don't send letters out letting them know about that. But if you want to, on this process, specifically for this fee versus any of the fees that we set for, say, auditorium leases or anything else, have a letter go out to the current tenants, you can. I think the bigger concern was that this had gone through on a consent item to where there wasn't an individual action
right.
taken on it. But you can certainly, if you are asking the staff or directing the staff the next time you consider a change, you can certainly at that point ask the staff to send out a letter to the residents.
The biggest deal that you're getting tonight is that 2017, 2018, 2019, what we're going to vote on tonight is there's no increase.
Okay. Well, I
And
appreciate.
the other, you'll have to talk to me about that, and that's something that we'll just have to
Okay.
see.
Well, I would thank the council and for doing this and not doubling it, and I really appreciate it, and thank you all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, Dan.
Thanks for coming down. Anybody else from the audience, questions or concerns? Okay, council? Kathleen?
Wilson,
No.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Okay, resolution number 4.
I have a resolution approving the final plat of Cafefe Lot subdivision.
Second.
Say that again, please.
Cafefe.
Whatever. Mr. Tisland?
This is a, excuse me, two-lot subdivision off of West Avenue, 2803 West Avenue. Somewhat shows up in the picture, highlighted here in red. Former structures, the house and garage were demolished on this site, and now they're looking to subdivide the lot into 2 separate lots for building. Shows the 2 lots. Lot 1 was approximately 1.16 acres, and Lot 2 is approximately 0.84 acres. So well above our minimum standards. This is a very deep lot, very large lot. So just wanting to subdivide it into 2 buildable lots for construction purposes.
Anybody from the audience, questions or concerns? I see none. Council?
Good.
Kathleen?
Good infill development.
Oh, I'm sorry, do you have,
I just said good infill development.
amen to that. Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Here and I have a resolution approving an agreement with Howard R. Green Company for the sewer master plan.
Second.
Mr. McGregor?
Before you is a resolution approving an agreement with HR Green for the sewer master plan work in the amount of $398,400. So a sewer master plan, and what does it entail, and why are we spending almost $400,000 to understand our sewer system? Well, a lot of what you've seen happened in the last 15 years has been sewer separation work, which has been a mandate by the EPA and the federal government to separate sanitary and storm sewer from each other. And we've done quite a bit of that. I think we're at a precipice now moving forward with the economic growth that we have, but also we still have quite a bit of separation work to do. We have way more work than we do funds, and that's fairly apparent even standing here now. So what does this plan do? This plan is going to take an analysis of our current system and where we want to go in the future. Understand our separation needs, but also our other issues that we have in our current separated system, and help us understand how we can fix those problems. We have a lot of I&I issues in previously separated system. So if you would hit the slideshow, I might be able to. I forgot about the slideshow. I just started going.
It's not informative.
Delays, probably. We had the same problem.
I know
before.
your login code, just so you know.
294. That's not mine, that's.
It's gonna take a second. It kicked
Take
me
a
out.
second. Apologies. I just
Hey,
started
while
going.
he's running that up,
And maybe I don't need to use it. Where was I at? So some of the things that we're gonna look at is condition analysis. So they're gonna take an analysis of the condition of all the sewer pipe in the city. They're going to plan on some of our capacity limitations, whether that be at regulator chambers, lift stations, the plant for one, and try and plan out the next 20 years for our capital improvement plan. Not only that, but they will help us understand what and how to grow for our sewer system. And I think that's huge for our city moving forward. As I explained last week when I first got here, we had some issues at a regulator chamber, and when I asked staff what the problem was, or what is causing this issue, do we have enough capacity? Because Silgan had just come online at the time. And we didn't have an answer to that question. And we should be able to answer that question on how much capacity we have, throughout the system. And how much do we have for limitations moving forward? But I think the biggest thing is we're gonna have a lot of costs and sewer concerns moving forward. And to be able to help plan that out strategically and also maybe use it as a tool to help amend our consent order is huge. And we're talking millions of dollars. Our current estimate for long-term control plan is in the bracket of 79 to 90 million for sewer separation costs. There's no way possible, and Jim would be able to test this better than me, there's no way we're gonna be able to afford that.
Nick, some have asked, they said, well, why are we paying this company to come in? Why don't we just take care of ourselves and figure out what's up with our system?
I would have to probably hire 2 or 3 full-time staff to be able to accomplish a feat like this. It entails a lot of flow metering, probably hydrology studying that, some computer programming that we do not have. We have a lot of limitations. They have experts in the field, same people that are also doing our sewer separation for the Locust Basin. It is a high amount to do what it says, sewer master plan. It says plan, but I think it's a lot more than just a plan. I think it's a direction. It's a path that the city of Burlington can follow to help improve its sewer needs for the next 20 years. So I think
Long-range planning, that's
correct.
the key.
When was the last time we've had anything like this done, Nick?
We have never done a sewer
We've
master
never
plan,
done it.
to my knowledge.
And to my knowledge as well. I just wanted to make sure you answered that question. A lot of people don't understand what all this entails, and so they're seeing that big, high inflated number, and they're thinking, man, that's a lot of money for some people just looking down in some holes and telling us that we need some better better sewer system, so.
Well, and they're gonna do a lot more than just that. They're gonna do high-level analysis. And we're also doing a sewer rate study currently, sewer and storm, with V&K, and hopefully those numbers will help play an impact and help us understand what our budget limitations are over the next 20 years. There's only so much we're gonna be able to charge residents, customers, users before they've had enough, and we need to be able to plan for this kind of thing.
One of the things that had come up, this has been an issue for several years for talking about the need for a sewer master plan. And one of the areas that was being talked about is the growth for the community is set up in the comp plan to be on the west and south portions of the community, and what's the best way to service them. Some of those areas on the west side there's some cost benefit that needs to be done between the idea of having a second wastewater treatment plant built out on that portion of the community versus potentially hooking into
Some sort of
West
cost share with
Burlington.
West Burlington.
versus using lift stations, and what sort of potential, which lines in there might need to be upsized in order to accommodate any anticipated increased flows out in that area to get it down to the sewer plant. So those are the kinds of evaluations that are beyond what our staff are able to do. It became a much more of a time crunch for us to see this occur and get built into the budget when Silgan came online, and some of our chambers that are designed to handle overflows were not able to get empty, and we had no response for what's causing this issue. What is the exact amount of flow that we can handle through the system on a daily basis, and what sort of things need to happen, not just for growth, but even to handle what we currently have.
And to clarify, the problem was found.
Yeah.
It was not, to clarify, it was not Silgan causing problems in our sewer. We had a problem with the regulator chamber, but the fact that we didn't even.
We didn't have an idea.
That wasn't where we went to first. We started trying to figure out where it came from. Would you just roll through the slideshow quick? I'm not gonna maybe cover it. Yeah, hit the next one. No, I guess I didn't need
That's
it.
the end of it.
Wasted all of our time.
That was lovely.
Wasted all of our time.
That
for
was
nothing.
phenomenal.
I'll answer any other questions from.
Well, let me see if I've got, do we have any questions or concerns from the audience? Okay. Got the questions answered. Council?
I'm glad to see
No.
this myself. Long-range planning we lacked around here.
Long overdue.
Okay, well,
Thank you, Nick.
One of the big pieces that goes with this, is the staff will be spending the next 2 days working with the EPA and going over what our long-term plans are, 15, 20-year basis in terms of I&I reduction, what's the best way to deal with stormwater issues, and potentially seeing a change to our consent order, a change to our NPDES permit for the discharge with the plant, modifications with that. We need to make sure that that discussion includes not just looking at stormwater issues. It needs to look at our overall system needs, from lift stations to the line that goes under the Mississippi River, is that Mississippi River Interceptor? That's a major project. We've got to make sure that all of those different potential needs are built into our discussions with the EPA and DNR. We want to make sure that as we're dealing with numbers that are well beyond the size of the revenues that are coming in, and we're asking for an extension on that CSO order, that we make sure that it doesn't just give us time to do that work, but prioritize between that and other needs that we have as a community.
Shane, there was a plan done back in the mid-1990s. It's much different from what this one is going to achieve. But before we got into the start of the sewer separation, shortly after the law was passed, Burlington was one of the first cities in the state to address the issue. And the city spent about $500,000 on a sewer separation plan.
in the 90s?
In the 90s, yeah. And in 1998, I think it was, we got a $2.2 million grant from the federal government to actually start the sewer separation. And that was, Leonard Boswell was the one that, or not Leonard, Jim Leach was the one that got that for us and got it started. And then Leonard Boswell was the one that presented it. So, but it was key to getting the sewer separation started, but it's much different from what this plan is going to provide. And if you think about it, that's 20 years ago. So, it was a 20-year plan that's basically, for the most part, been achieved what it wanted to achieve. So.
All right, appreciate the insight on that.
And it was wrong.
It was wrong?
Yeah, it called for 1.1 million gallons of retention construction, and that's apparently not been enough. So.
Well, we're gonna get it right this time. We good?
But that's just the way that it's changed over the years.
Bishop? Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
Campbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
All right, number 6.
Your Honor, I move the approval of the lease agreement between the City of Burlington and Most LLC for the use of Danquit Park Pool.
Second.
Moved in second. Mr. Tisson?
Go through some of the provisions in the lease agreement. There are a couple minor modifications from what was in the packet that were handed out as well. This essentially makes it a 18-month lease approximately instead of, before it rolled over year to year. This allows the group to secure their funds for the dome, and also allows the city to move forward with a longer-term lease after they accomplish that through a public hearing process. So, and under item 2, previously it said the lease shall continue annually. This just goes until April 30th, 2019, unless it's renewed. And then same with number 6. And then under termination, previously there was a termination that could go forward with no reason by either party after May 1st, 2025, so that was just removed. But I guess those changes allow this lease agreement to be considered for approval. If it's longer than a 3-year lease, then it does have to have a public hearing. It also allows the city to ensure that the dome is moving forward, the pool dome is moving forward, and then enter into a longer-term agreement after that case. So keeps the group on their schedule for grant applications as well. But some of the provisions, as discussed previously in the lease, allows the leasee, which is Most LLC, to operate the pool during the city's non-use period, which is roughly Labor Day to Memorial Day, with some provisions in there. Allows them to construct a bubble or dome over the existing pool, including other equipment, supporting items, mechanicals and such. It does require that any existing plumbing be separated or taken into account. The small pool, the kiddie pool, would not be part of the dome structure, so some of the plumbing structures will need to be separated to allow those to be not run during the winter period. The leasee shall be permitted to make improvements to the pool house, pool, and grounds, subject to prior approval by the city in order to allow the pool and pool house to be used during the lease period. Currently, the pool house is an unconditioned structure as well, so will need to be some improvements there to allow for winter use. Beginning on September 1st of 2018, $2,500 monthly payment by the leasee, continuing through April 30th of 2019. If this lease continued, that would be intended to be in the future as well, paid to the city of Burlington for use during that period. They would make improvements to the pool deck as part of the dome structure that was planned as a CIP item, I believe in 2022, for $100,000. So that's something that we previously discussed. They had inquired about a reduced lease payment the first 2 years in lieu of them putting in that pool deck. That would be something they'll come back forward for, is paying that $2,500 upfront, but a possible reimbursement in lieu of that city not having to make those improvements to the deck in 4 or 5 years. Leasee shall provide on a year-round basis swimming lessons. This is during the lease period and during the city operation. Swimming lessons shall be at a fee reasonably comparable to other local lessons fees as approved by the city council. The leasee is responsible at its sole expense for the entire cost of construction of the dome and supporting additional structures, and shall further maintain the dome and all associated mechanical and structural equipment following construction at their cost. They shall provide necessary staff for operation of the pool during the lease period, as well as for the swim lessons. Shall be responsible for payment of all utilities during the lease period. Leasee shall receive approval from the city council before any grant application monies are utilized for the pool, for the dome structure, associated equipment. That's intended to ensure that the city's held harmless for repayment of any grant monies due to any potential failure to meet the requirements. Southeast Iowa Swim Club shall maintain ownership of the dome and related equipment, as they discussed at the work session, wanting to keep the dome local. Most LLC doesn't move forward, there may be opportunities with other groups to continue the lease. City shall provide the new pool in normal condition upon completion of its non-lease period. If there's unexpected costs over $10,000, those should come before the city council for consideration of approval. Those are kind of the highlights of the pool lease. They provided an image at the last meeting as well, kind of what the dome could be. There will be some, the fence structure need to be moved, some of the lighting and other items as part of this as well, outside of the dome structure. But if you have any further questions on the lease, I can try and answer those. The Southeast Iowa Swim Club representatives are here as well to answer any further questions.
Any questions or concerns from anybody in the audience tonight? I see none. Council?
I think it's a great program.
I hope it works. I hope it works.
Yeah.
I think you guys are crazy, but in a good way, except for Freeling, you're in a bad way, so.
I'm glad you clarified that, Mayor.
Yes, so, but awesome, all right.
And some of the timing on it, and you may correct me if I'm wrong, looking to apply for grants and funds this fall and winter. I'll look to do deck improvements next spring, with installation of the dome next fall after the city pool season. So wouldn't be operational this year, it would be in 2018, fall of 2018.
All right. Kathleen?
Wilson.
Aye.
Davidson.
Aye.
Fleming.
Aye.
McCampbell.
Yes.
Scott.
Aye.
All right, moving forward. Thanks for coming down, guys. Number 7.
Your Honor, I move we approve the exceptions to the termination of the auditorium management services with Venue Works.
Second.
Moved in second. Jim?
After the work session on last Monday night, we did have a conversation with Venue Works, talked with them about the council's wish to give them the opportunity to come forward and have some discussion with you all as a group. They had some thought, and they were preliminarily thinking about coming this next work session. But as you can see, as they wade through and they watched through the meeting, and just based off of what they saw, where the council was looking to head and what the tenor of the discussion was, they made a decision to take advantage of one of the terms within our existing contract, same one that we were having a discussion about at the work session as a potential option. And they have provided a 120-day notice of their intent to terminate the contract effective December 1. This is not on in terms of needing to have a resolution to for that to take effect. This is as much an acknowledgement of their terminating the contract.
Okay. Any questions or concerns from the audience?
In regards to where you go from here, this will be a work session item on the next week's agenda for you to have a discussion about how you're going to be moving forward with this in mind.
Sounds good.
I did have a question, but the public should have an input first.
Mr. Shahan first, and then we'll get you. Yes, sir.
Leon Shahan, 1821 Mount Pleasant Street. I know you never should say never. I tried to tell you so when you entered into this agreement, that it was a rocky road, and the discussion you're having now that caused them to terminate this agreement should have been had before you entered into it in the first place. You built, with taxpayer subsidy, 3 other venues that competed with the auditorium, and you're wondering why you have this problem. We need to think not in terms of silo management where we look at each individual item, but how everything fits together. You just had a discussion about the sewer system. These entertainment venues are the same way. When that was the only game in town that didn't make money, and in recent years you've added 3 more. There's no way it's going to work.
Thank you, sir. Yes, sir. You look like a Mayor's Award winner. Come on down.
My name is Dean Phineas in Burlington. I live at 2117 Northern Drive. About the auditorium, let's put it this way, it's a beautiful auditorium and deco, and when you walk in there, it's beautiful. But the problem is, it's old, and it's, maybe people disagree with me what the one would say, it's outdated. Because, okay, has anybody been at the Mark in the Quad Cities?
It's been a while, but I've been.
Yeah, but it has double the seating, plus also they're able to take their semis and their buses, which they have the entertainers and the band, into the building, and there's no way you can do that with the auditorium. But I hope and pray you get rid of this lease, that you find some way to keep it going, because one thing I'm worrying about is when they leave, it's gonna sit vacant, 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 like the high school, and it's gonna go down, down in deterioration, and we don't need that to happen.
That's right.
I mean, we got, it'd be nice if we could build one like the Mark, but let's be realistic. We don't got the money, we can't afford it. The only place you can build it is out by the business park, but we just cannot afford it. That's reality. If we can afford that, we can afford Cascade Bridge.
I knew you'd say that. I knew he would say that.
Well, yeah, but that's called reality. I mean, we're not the federal government. But I just hope it doesn't sit vacant and you find somebody to use it because like I said, it's beautiful. It's just, I hate to see it just go to waste.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
You're welcome.
Any other comments from the audience? I see none. Council?
Do we know, does Eric or Stephanie or whoever, Nick, know, do they have commitments out in the future of programs or groups that are supposed to come in, or?
I think that the last event they have scheduled is in September, yep.
Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
All right. But I mean an outside, I don't mean a local, I mean a national concert tour or something, yeah.
The school uses that.
Yeah, I know that too, yeah.
We good on this side? We good on this side? Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Number 8.
Your Honor, I move the approval of awarding a contract for the new law enforcement center bid package number 1, general construction.
Second.
Chief, welcome back to America. Come on down.
Good evening, it's pretty exciting,
Yeah.
pretty exciting
I
stuff.
agree.
So yeah, we received one bid for general construction, and that was the Frank Miller Company for 1.335. So we would recommend that we approve that for the general contractor of the new law enforcement center.
And what does it mean, general construction?
The general construction is demolition and then all the general construction in terms of studs, sheet rock, the building itself or the renovation, the improvements itself. I mean, obviously, and then the other bid packages will take care of electrical, flooring, HVAC, plumbing.
So all the individual offices and the wall that separates the front window and all that kind of stuff?
Yes, sir.
Yeah,
And the exterior work that needs to be done, the cleanup that's gonna be done on that,
okay,
which is mainly just cleaning and then any glazing or window replacement, that stuff.
okay. Thank you.
And Frank Millard was awarded on that contract for, $1,335,000.
Yeah, they were the sole bidder as a general contractor.
Any questions or concerns from the audience? I'll see, you might as well stay there, big. Okay, I see none. Do we want to go, just want to go all the way through all of these, or?
I don't know.
Okay, do
Let's
each
do
one
one at a
separately.
time.
All right, well, then we're here. All right, well, then you're going to stretch your legs then.
Can we stud it up?
No comments from the audience? We're good, council?
Oh, let's get her done.
Let's get her done.
Let's get her done.
Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Oh, I know the total comes out great.
Your Honor, I move the approval of awarding a contract for the new law enforcement center bid package number 2, flooring finishing.
Second.
Chief?
Yeah, and that was, again, there was a single bidder on that, which is Ryan Smith's Flooring, another local bidder. That was $197,452 to take care of all the flooring in the building.
Keeping it local. Anybody from the audience, any questions or concerns? I see none. Oh, yes. Yes, please. And give us your name and address. We want to know where you live.
Ellen Fuller, 420 South Garfield. I'm just wondering why there's only one bid so far for each of the, and I'm glad they're local. I'm really happy about that, but I wonder why there's no other bid.
Go ahead and come up and respond, and introduce who you are.
Thanks. Your Honor and Council, my name is Perry Hines. I work with Carl Nelson Company. Carl Nelson was hired as a construction management agency for the city to work together with the design team to get the design within the city's budget, and also work together to put these into different bid packages. It's favorable for the city, for the schedule, and for the design team to have these in separate bid packages, so we're not dealing with one contractor that has control over everything. during the management, during the project, we'll have someone on site that will manage this. So during the bid phase, as a service to the city, as a construction manager, we do send out multiple notices, put this on multiple plan rooms. I personally call a lot of the local contractors that we have relationships with, and then I have an assistant who calls a lot of neighboring cities and towns, and to just try to get the bid participation and activity in high in each bid package. So the examples for bid package 1 and bid package 2, where we'll only have one bid, we did reach out to numerous contractors. And, you know, when you look at a project like this, it's very advantageous and it looks good that contractors are gonna be able to come in and work on this over the winter. So when we were designing and we were looking at putting the bid package together, we thought we're gonna have a lot of people look at this. And for the most part, for a lot of bid packages, we did. Unfortunately, the construction market right now is very, very busy. So we got the most bid participation, which we could have asked for. So overall, as we look through all the bid packages and the chief explains it, the project in a whole, we look pretty good. We've got good bid participation. So.
Now, as you do this process, each of these bid packages, you have a preliminary estimate of what you think that the market should bring back for a bid. And I mean, you never know what that's going to be, but you have a preliminary estimate. Did these come in fairly close to what you were anticipating?
Yeah, if for the most part, yes, most of the bid packages were under. There were some that were significantly under. There were some that were over 10-20%. But if we look at the project as a whole with all bid packages, we're under our total estimate. So in a busy market and in a market like Burlington, that's great.
And one of the things that can happen with the question that you've brought up, you only have one respondent, is to take a look and see, were the bids reasonable? Were they fairly in line with expectations? If they're not, is where you get concerned about, should we go into a rebid process or not because of the low participation and try to get someone else? Did you have any concerns in this area with these first couple of projects?
With that, we did discuss, you know, what could we rebid with the scenario if we do rebid it. And then we're looking at, okay, we have to do some changes in design. I believe the code requires us to do that, maybe change a little how we structure the bid packages. And then we have to wait a considerable amount of time that maybe it's favorable to rebid it in December. However, now it's pushing back the schedule for the city. You know, so we have to look at, well, what's the cost now to have that building vacant for the next 3 months while we try to rebid. So after the discussion and our recommendation to the chief and the city, their recommendation was let's move forward with the bids we have.
Just for the record, I thought the flooring bid was about $5-10 high, but we'll talk about that later.
Okay.
Mike Elmer, 620 Iowa Street. I will answer your question in maybe a different way. One of the reasons that you got one floor bid is a bid bond and performance bond was required on this project, which is part of the state law, I guess. That keeps a lot of companies from bidding because of the cost of that bond, which is why we didn't bid. I would have loved to. I probably would have beat this bid, but I hope that clarifies some.
Thank you, sir. Any other comments from the audience? Yes, sir.
My name is Dean Finnessy. I live at 221 Northern Drive. I voted for this. I think this is a good idea. We need a better police station than the one we have now. It's this one going to move its better condition, but I was disappointed it took my bank away. So I voted for this, and you deserve it. All you policemen, you deserve better place than the one you have now.
Well, all right, you helped make it happen. Okay, anybody else in the audience? Okay, Council?
No.
Okay, Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye.
Your Honor, I move the awarding of a contract for new law enforcement center bid package number 3, fire protection sprinklers.
Second.
1 second, Chief?
Okay, we're moving on now to the bid package for the sprinkler system in the building, which we did have numerous bids on that. And we are recommending that the tri-state automatic sprinkler system for $119,765 be awarded the bid. That was the low bid. The other bids came in with Blackhawk automatic sprinkler at $133,990, Continental fire sprinkler at $128,440, and Midwest automatic fire sprinkler at $134,640. It is a Davenport-based company. The bids we got were 3 Davenport-based companies and 1 Cedar Falls, Iowa-based company.
Any questions from the audience? I see none. Council?
No.
Thank you.
Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. Your Honor, resolution awarding contract for the new law enforcement center bid package number 4, plumbing.
Second.
Chief?
Okay, on to the plumbing, and again, we had 3 bidders on this project with Frank Miller and Company at $125,000 even, and that's who we would recommend be awarded the contract. Proctor Mechanical Corporation was $156,055. McCann Mechanical was $169,792.
Any questions from the audience? I see none. Council?
No.
Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. Your Honor, resolution awarding contract for new law enforcement center bid package number 5, HVAC.
Second.
Chief?
Yeah, and for the HVAC, we're gonna recommend that Brockway Mechanical, a local company here in Burlington, be awarded the contract for $125,722. We also had good participation there with Arnold Refrigeration at $168,920, Frank Millard at $223,000, and Proctor Mechanical at $253,935.
Questions or concerns from the audience? I see none. Council?
Good.
Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. We have a resolution awarding contract for new law enforcement center bid package 6, electrical.
Second.
Chief?
The bid package, we would recommend that Moorfield Electric of Fort Madison, Iowa be awarded the contract. Their bid was $721,000 even, and Dave Bazine Electric, a local company here in Burlington, was $746,808.
Were you doing the alternate too then on that?
Well, the alternate's still up for discussion, and I'm gonna let Perry comment, he knows a little bit more, but I think that we're maybe gonna do something a little more beneficial than where it's currently at.
My recommendation, and speaking also with the architect and electrical engineer, was to accept the alternate as it currently stands as designed. There may be some cost benefits there of changing the system that it's currently designed, but those cost savings would go directly to the city, upgrading to a new generator other than reusing the one that they have. However, and that would be considered a minor change order that we can deal with during the project process, but I would recommend that we go ahead and approve the alternate bid.
And then you may cut that out as time goes on?
We may cut that out, and we can cut that out if we so choose.
So you're accepting it with us for the $792,400 to include that alternate?
Right.
Any concerns from the audience? I see none. Council?
No.
Kathleen?
Wilson,
Aye.
Davidson,
Aye.
Fleming,
Aye.
McCampbell,
Aye.
Scott.
Aye. Resolution awarding contract for new law enforcement center bid package number 7, exterior site work and parking lot renovations.
Second.
Chief?
Yeah, and the site work, the bid number 7, we're gonna recommend that you do not award that bid. And we're gonna come back to that again this spring. to see where we're at overall on the project with cost. I mean, we're talking about some ulterior fencing that could be added to this project, or maybe even an ulterior roof that could be added to all part of this parking lot or parking process. And I think in the spring, we're gonna know budget-wise where we're at, and it'll be a better time of year on top of that to look at this parking situation. So, I mean, and then Perry might have a little bit more to add, but we would recommend that we not award that at this current.
Your Honor and Counsel, as Chief said, our recommendation was not to approve this at this time. This was a bid package where we did receive only one bid, which was above what we estimated for. The plan during the bid package, as we were building the big packages, that this would be a bid package that could be included or left out of the project and not have an effect of the structure or the program itself as in the police department. As Chief said, we can look at, we are gonna look at redesigning, maybe adding or removing some features to that, and we can rebid that in December, January, when, well, contractors will be more apt to be bidding that, so.
How much contingency do you still have left in the project?
We have our full estimated contingency currently, of 10%. The dollar amount is $312,000.
So depending on how the project goes, you still have the potential to have a significant change of scope for that last phase.
Yeah.
Or it may be that you use up all of that, so.
It could be, it is a remodel project. To say bluntly, you never know until you start tearing things out what you're gonna find behind the walls. We are optimistic, but then again, we are planning for that. So typically on a new construction, you hold 3 to 5%. This is a renovation. To be safe, we held 10. We feel confident that, we're excited that the bids came in, so our bids aren't getting into our contingency, so.
So the bottom line, we're definitely under budget.
Our bids are under our estimated budget, that's correct, yeah.
We feel confident moving forward, Perry. We believe in you.
But part of what he's saying, when he's saying our bids are under budget, we still have to go through the process. So you can have change orders that come up for the unforeseen things. We can have delays in this project. Our fees with Carl A. Nelson are on a monthly basis, as an example. So if the project were not to be done on the same timeline that's currently expected, we'll have to deal with that yet as well.
So as part of our recommendation, when we started getting through the demolition phase and start the beginning parts of the construction, we'll have a better idea come December, January, where we're at, where our contingency is at that point.
And you'll be keeping us up to snuff on
Yes,
how
sir.
things are coming.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
No pressure, Perry, but we believe in you. We know you can do it, buddy.
I tell him that every week.
That's right. Keep putting the pressure on him, Chief. We believe in you, Perry. All right. Okay. Nothing else, Council? Kathleen?
A no vote would mean that you will rebid later. Wilson?
No.
Davidson?
No.
Fleming?
No.
McCampbell?
No.
Scott?
No.
Thank you, Chief.
Yeah, thank you.
All right. At this time, we'll entertain comments from the audience. If there's anybody that has any comments, like Chris Reed possibly, come on down.
Hello, Chris Reed, 821 Cindy Drive. Just want to bring something light with school here coming up in almost 2 weeks. I have been designated my neighborhood sort of spokesman. I guess they think I talk.
Man, your neighborhood's hard up, man.
But in the neighborhood of sort of Cathmar, Cindy, Randall, and Easy, we have about 40 kids that go to middle school over at Ed Stone. And what we would like the city to potentially look at down the road, if not sooner than later, is some type of school crossing on West Avenue. This is something that we feel that is greatly needed. We have those in some over on Sunnyside with the elementary school as well as the middle school, as well as on West Avenue with Course Elementary School, where the kids come up, they hit the light, and traffic has to stop. Last year, it took my son 15 minutes to cross West Avenue. So, when I told him he had to run a little bit faster, he had to run back. But it's just something that I want to bring up to light to the council, that I think it's a safety situation, that I know Ed Stone sits quite a bit ways back on Willow, but with a lot of kids crossing that street on West Avenue, it can be a little dangerous, as well as with the school starting at the same time. So we have a lot of traffic for the high schools, as well as people going to work on West Avenue. Just don't want to see anybody get hurt or injured. So,
Okay,
thank you.
Thank you.
can we have somebody investigate that?
I saw a pen on paper writing it down,
Well,
so.
I know the chief does a great job in the department at the beginning of the year, they can't be there every morning.
Well, he's just getting back to America anyways. We gotta let him get his breath back. Any other
Thank you.
comments?
Thank you, Chris.
Yes, ma'am.
Still Ellen Fuller at 420 South Garfield. And I thank you for the opportunity to be heard. I have some photos that I'd like the council to look at. Is that okay? Thank you. When we bought our home at 420 South Garfield 47 years ago, our block consisted of a variety of homes, all in good to excellent condition. Over the years, 2 houses in particular have been allowed to deteriorate. The one directly south of us, and those are the first 4 pictures, has a backyard that is full of junk cars and other debris. We are grateful to the City Inspections Department for diligently pursuing redress of our complaints. Consequently, the yard is better, but still a mess, and the house itself needs paint. The house directly across the street from us, which is the 5th picture, while the yard is mowed, is badly in need of paint, and we have noted birds flying in and out of the home through the upstairs Gothic window and the vent above it. We are hoping to move to a smaller home in the next few years, but because of the poor conditions of these houses, our realtor says we will never receive what our historic home is worth. The fault in this scenario lies, of course, with the homeowners, but it also lies with the way the city code is written. The city inspectors have done their job within the provisions of the code as they apply to these situations, which exist all over town. I urge the city council to examine the applicable sections of the city code and work to amend them so Burlington will be a town of which we may all be proud. Thank you.
Thank you.
That's a good point.
Thank you. And I know where you live. I have to see the pictures. I know what you're talking about. Yes, sir. I'm sorry, I'm gonna get to you next.
Leon Shahan, 1821 Mount Pleasant Street. I guess my concern, and I know the rules here, I discussed the auditorium, but we're still building a flood wall now to protect a building that conceivably could be empty. And I guess,
But you know the flood wall isn't for the auditorium. That's not what the flood wall is
well,
for.
it's, that's the other part of the coin that really hasn't been transparent. In the 10-year plan, we're talking about a hotel and convention center on the riverfront. That's always been the dream. With incentives we normally hand out, we're talking a $100 million project. We really need to look ahead. Do you really think you can hold back the Mississippi River spending $100 million? I don't think so. As far as I'm concerned, the only thing that should be close to a river are bridge piers, intermodal facilities, and boat docks.
Thank you, Leon.
Leon Shahan. Yes, sir.
I pass home from rain. Oh, I don't know about that one, but anyway, I want to talk about 2 other things.
We didn't get your name, sir. I'm sorry.
Dean Fennessy, Burlington, 2117 Northern Drive. I think we ought to face the fact that with STEAMO days, either we're going to have local entertainment or not have it anymore. The problem is, and I somewhat said this, entertainers want to get paid big bucks.
It's true.
And they want a place like the Mark to go in there, like I said, and drive their trucks and semis. And I'll give you a couple of samples. I go to Old Thrashers. They have old timers and new country singers. They don't have superstars. I asked somebody once about this. a woman said, we just cannot afford it. You look at Swing Core Festival, they don't have they have local entertainment. Plus, the problem it has, now, I hear complaints where I don't know how to say this without sounding not nice. They do things to women that are not nice, some people, and heard about violence. Now, would you take your family down there to a thing like that and have poor security? I always went down there for the fireworks because about 13, 12 years ago, I played one of their games and I had a cousin argue with a vendor about giving me my prize. But that, and I just don't, I think in the future we'll have to make a major decision about this. Like I said, Steamo days, I don't go down. There is something else now I can't, now just went away from my, oh, yes, Mount Pleasant Bridge. Is that going good?
Mount Pleasant Bridge, yeah, are you around 50% design, or, I don't know. But it's on schedule for
Good, I'm gonna keep
construction
going
this
until
next
I
year.
see it. And the same thing all over again, what me and him wants to be done, which probably when we get $1 million, it get done. But that's, I forgot to ask this question. Forgive me. I don't know if anybody's here with the Dankworth pool. They want to build a dome over it, right? The problem is they had the same design in the Quad Cities about 2 years ago, and the wind made it come tumbling down. In Minnesota, that football team, I can't remember, the Minnesota Twins, they had the same design, had a ton of snow, and it came tumbling down. Will this be able to stand up to the weather? Or we're going to have it where it's going to come, big wind's going to bring it down and have to build it all over again?
Good question.
Because that's the problem with those kind of things. I saw that and I just thought that popped in my head. I mean, that's just my question, and I think that's it. May the Lord Jesus be with you, and peace be with you, and have a nice night.
Thank you, Dean.
Thank you, Dean. And I will reiterate that information. I'll pass that on. Anybody else from the audience? You guys have been lovely tonight. What a wonderful group of people we have right here in River City. Mr. Tisland? Kathleen? Jim?
Well, actually, anything that I would have is probably what's already in the paper, so I'll ask you to just go to the website and watch the video on it. But I did submit my resignation last Friday, and that's effective October 4. Would anticipate you'd want to have an item on the work session agenda for this next week for replacement of that position.
Okay. We're going to close out with council statements. I'll start with you.
I have nothing.
Okay. Mr. Scott? Mr. Davidson?
Yeah, I'm saddened. I believe strongly that people are called to a position by God to fulfill a role at a certain time in a certain period of time. And I believe that's what happened here with our wonderful city manager. He was fulfilling a call in his life to come here, and actually I believe that's what I'm here for. I'm here for a purpose and a reason. And so I'm saddened, but he's got to follow God's will for his life. So
Well said.
we'll have to move on.
Bishop?
I'm very unhappy. I talk to the same Lord that he does, and I'm getting a different message. Just thought I'd point that out.
That was pretty good. That even made Shahan laugh, man. Leon is laughing.
No, Jim has done a great job for our city. I'm so proud of what he's done, and we will succeed. We will move forward and get the job done. And because of the good job he's done, I think we can attract a good replacement for him. But if he decides to change his mind and stay with us, I would accept that. That's the end of my speech.
Amen.
I just want to say, I was just new to city council when we were getting this process started, and we came and we had to hire a new city manager, and this guy was not my pick. I wasn't thinking, and I'm glad that the guy that I was thinking that we were going to have as a city manager, I'm glad that we didn't get him. And somebody got in my ear, they said, you need to look at this other guy. Anyways, we ended up getting this other guy. And this other guy's been a blessing to us. And I don't like Notre Dame, and you're a Notre Dame fan. But I still love you. And I just want to say I appreciate the job that you did for us. And we're grateful, and we respect your decision, and we respect you. So what else needs to be said? And I hope you keep your 30,000 kids in Burlington so the population doesn't go down.
The job that he will continue to do for us in the next.
Thank you all. All right, on that note, if there's
Your
nothing
Honor,
else,
is it time?
it's time.
I move that we adjourn.
Second?
It's been moved in second. Kathleen?
Wilson?
Aye.
Davidson?
Aye.
Fleming?
Aye.
McCampbell?
Aye.
Scott?
Aye. This meeting's adjourned. Thank you, everybody. Good night.
Consider going
Thank you,
ahead and
Counsel.
adjourn. Is that out of the way?